Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm Chantele. And we're here to talk about episode 18, 19, and
Ooh.
20 of Australian Survival.
Oh, hey, wrong show.
The Amazing Race.
Correct country, wrong show. It's still Amazing Race.
It's
We're
because I
still
started with Australia instead of saying
Yeah.
The Amazing Race Australia, and it's Australian Survivor. So, yes. Oopsie.
But
we're here.
first, if you're new to this channel, please click subscribe and give this video a thumbs up. Hello.
Hello.
It is a lot. It's a lot to keep up with, but this is it. These are
Last
the
week.
penultimate episodes.
Final stretch.
We're here. We're gonna make it. These were some doozies of an episodes.
Yeah.
I had feelings.
I cried. I did cry. I had full
Of course
tears.
you cried.
I had full tears though. I had full tears.
Believe it.
Episode 19. But yeah.
Believe it. Whoa, I say about episode 19. It also starts to feel like the finale, right? Like the scope of the tasks is kind of growing. So I was definitely getting excited towards the end here of these episodes. But first in 18, we're going to start in Izamal. And we're going to begin with Raise Your Glass, which is dancing with a bottle on your head. Oh, how many times have we seen this?
I mean, it's great task though. That's one thing. Like, I just love those type of tasks where, yes, you can be a good dancer, but like maybe you have an uneven shaped head. Or, you never know. Maybe you have a cone head underneath your hair and you can't really effectively place the bottle. So I do like merging like a traditional task with a skill that is not necessarily something that everybody's done before. So yeah, I liked it.
I have that the hubbies arrived last here for this task. Tiffany and Cynthia fail at their first attempt. Our church friends, Angel and Frankie, are able to get it on their first try and get out first at this time. And then Tiffany and Cynthia finish second. They're going to be interesting to me over these next couple episodes. Heath did some screaming while he was trying to do this. The teachers and our married couple, Heath and Tony, are out third and fourth from this task.
I was hoping that I would start to enjoy Kelly more, but I don't. Like, every time he talks or complains or everything, I'm just like, oh, you poor dear Georgia. This is your life.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, my notes on him really ramp up over these episodes. Yeah. Have more and more notes for Kelly. Let's move on to counting arches. We got to count some arches to get an address, basically. 2 numbers is the intersection. My question first here, are they saying maths? They kept saying what sounded like maths, as in plural math to me.
Yeah, I think
Did you pick up on that?
What they were saying when they were talking about addition.
Yeah. Is this what we say in Australia, y'alls? We say maths. They kept, like, Kelly was really excited about his maths. And I was like, what?
Maybe it's like slang. Like how like you say like the math ain't mathin'. Like maybe it's like maths. It's just like they kind of pluralize it as a bit of slang.
Yeah, is it slang or do we do all math?
Math
plural. Like math is
it's
plural.
A thing, but yeah, it's already plural.
Maths is math. Yeah, so math is maths.
Wow.
Why is there an S? Why? It's just regular, no slang, just maths.
It's just a regular term. Maths? I'm going to go to maths class?
Yeah, you say, I go to maths class? I'm studying maths?
Stop it!
Oh. Just this most subtle difference just makes such a huge difference to us. This is so funny.
Wait, we see maths, no plural. What does that
It's
mean?
not plural, but they're saying it's not plural, but they're saying maths with an S.
Oh, okay. So so officially it's maths, but maths is math.
Right.
So it's like if like saying like mooses.
What'd you say? Gooses?
Like saying mooses.
Oh.
Just moose. Like plural or not plural.
But like we say math is short for mathematics. It's the same thing. They just say maths.
I understand, Sarah. I do understand, but it doesn't work for me.
That's so funny.
Let me just think about it. So mathematics. Let me see. So, we have to do some mathematics. We have to do some maths. Okay.
I'm on board. I get it. It just threw me because I was like, am I hearing them correctly?
So, our Aussie friends like say in your on your schedule for school, would it be maths class?
You would write it out.
Like if it was on your schedule.
They're all saying yes, but yeah. No, I'm all for the shortened words. We all say math as well. No one says mathematics.
Right. But we don't say plural.
Don't have
math.
Yeah, it's MATH. We just don't have MATH.
Because like math is like the root, right? So like
we don't have to make it doesn't have to make sense to us.
Okay.
It doesn't.
Okay.
I'm actually surprised they don't say mathy. I love that Australians make everything like E at the end. Yeah.
Mathy would work for me.
Mathy is fun. It would actually, I mean, I like math, but it would make math more fun if I called it mathy.
Mathy. I like math too. And mathy would be lots of fun.
Right? All right. Anyway, we got through that, guys. We love our differences. We love it and accept it and embrace it. Okay. Church and the aunt and niece, Angel, Frankie, Tiffany, Cynthia, they are counting first. They have completely different numbers. They're going to get into their carriages and go completely different places. And I think what it came down to were some of the interior arches, I guess, because there was a question of like, do we count these or not?
Well, how did they get a decimal point is my question.
Okay, that's the real question.
I really don't understand. Like, that math ain't mathin' for me.
That ain't mathin'. That's not math with or without an S. How do you have a decimal? Oh my God. When she first said that there was a decimal, I was like, wait a minute, what? And then they stuck with it because later Kelly had to say, no, there shouldn't be a decimal.
but I just like, how would it come about? Like,
how?
Because they're not doing, there's no calculator, right? So they'd be doing this simple.
She did have a calculator.
Oh, so she must have pressed.
Didn't she? Was she drawing? I thought she was putting it into a calculator.
Okay, there's a calculator. She must have hit the decimal point.
Yeah, something accidentally got hit but logically you would go,
oh, I must have hit something because there's no.
It's either an arch or a knot. It's right.
It's not a quarter arch.
It's not a half an arch or a 0.6 of an arch, which I don't even know what that would be.
60% of an arch.
Yeah, that was really, really funny. But so apparently Angel and Frankie were correct in the way that they did it because they're going to find their clue, whereas Tiffany and Cynthia, not so much. But then we start to see people just working together, basically counting together. We get this whole great edit where Kelly is really proud of his maths, but then he turns out to be wrong. And I cherish those edits.
I know, and it would like keep on pressing it over and over and over again, and then like them be like, "No, it's 31," and he's like, "Oh," or whatever the number was, but
right, because I must have, yeah. But meanwhile, they're going to tell us how important his maths was. The hubbies and our cops are our last teams here, setting us up for this episode. Then we go to a roadblock. Who's ready to be pinned down?
Ooh. Another little sexual innuendo between our church friends.
Hey.
Now, do you think that they're building us up for this engagement at the end of the season? Because it seems like every episode, at least some sort of reference to them being in a couple or a relationship or a bystander seeing that oh, you're not together. Oh yeah, no, we're just friends. Like it happens over and over and over and over again. So yeah.
It really is. I think maybe 19 or 20 here, they like really hit us, smack us in the face with it.
Mhm.
So I don't know that there's going to be a proposal, but I am definitely expecting them to be a couple after this.
Because if you can travel with somebody, that says a lot. I know a lot of people, it's like the equalizer for a relationship. I was like, well, you want to see if you want to marry him, go on a vacation with him and see how that goes. And sometimes it
Right?
works and sometimes it doesn't work. And they're like, yeah, thank you for that advice because I can't stand that person. So they seem to still like each other, which is great after running this stressful race.
Yeah, Frankie was hearing it for part of.
She wasn't great to him in 19.
No, and we're going to talk about it. But this is just a cross stitch embroidery task. Not a big deal, guys. Just some needle and thread.
It
It's
seemed
okay.
easy. I mean, I've never really done embroidery before, but I've probably done stuff like that when I was younger, like different type of coloring books or like embroidery books or like just like I've done stuff like that. I've definitely taken looming before in school. So I just
Yeah.
didn't think of it to be too difficult, especially since you have the pattern.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to look perfect. Like the people who do it well, it's beautiful, but it's doable. You just go stitch, stitch, stitch. It's not hard, but some people are going to be really scared and nervous of this. Angel and Frankie arrive first, but this whole being pinned down is confusing. You're not thinking sewing. And so, people like Frankie are choosing to do it and then getting there and being like, this isn't
Yeah.
my task.
Yeah. You probably thought it was going to be like wrestling or something.
Right. You might think it's physical. So he's like, oh gosh. And Angel is like, get it. Stop looking. Just do it. Don't worry about the demonstration. Get it done. This is when Angel starts to lose her cool a little.
Yeah, and like he was just really wanting to make sure that he did it right the first time, and so I understand his
Sure.
paying attention to detail, seeing how she moves through it, and like I don't know, maybe she hasn't really done that many roadblocks. I don't know, but I've just never seen him chirping at her when she's working on something. I wish
Yeah.
that maybe that she wasn't allowed to be around him, like maybe in the distance, and so she could just be pacing on her own instead of like being there in his ear.
Yeah. She says, guess what? Millennials don't embroider. And I'm like, Angel, I'm not a millennial, but I don't think the millennials want you speaking for them anymore because the only thing I think she has confirmed millennials do is TikTok.
I mean,
Nothing else. No cross stitching, no reading
maps.
maps. I mean, it's all like, we just don't do that as millennials. And I'm like, I think some do.
I definitely think some do.
Yeah.
Like if I was a millennial, I would be like, I'm into like older stuff because it's cooler. It's probably what I'd be.
It's just a skill. Just
Mhm.
a skill. Then my next note is, why is Angel being mean to Frankie? Heath and Georgia are both stressing while they do this. Maury's going to swoop in. They're second to last. And is it Maury? It might have been Paco. Okay, thank you. Paco, they're second to last, and he's going to finish first. He's a natural.
Yes, I love that he's like, I pick up tasks so easily. Like I was just good at this, and like just like whippity whoop whoop whoop, and he's done, and he gets a thumbs up from the lady.
Exactly. Once again, hubbies are good at these things. They just in and out. Frankie is going to have to redo it, but he's still going to leave in second. Cynthia gets out third. She's pretty decent at this. Georgia and Lauren are left there as the last teams doing up their stitching, but the teachers are going to end up being the last team to leave this task.
Yes, Georgia wasn't so great at this one.
Mm-mm.
I thought that she would be better at it, but she wasn't so good. I wonder what she was doing wrong. It's hard to see. It's such a small little thing that they're working on. Like,
Right.
can't really tell like why people are taking longer than others.
Yeah. She just seemed like nervous from the get-go. Like, true. I think if you go into it, like, I don't know what this is. I don't understand. It's really hard to get into it. We see a bunch of asking for directions here. Like people just are like, where am I going? What's happening? And in this edit, we see Paco and Mori telling us that they're so bad at directions. And this to me came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I agree. I totally was like, since when? Like you was seem to be well, I guess maybe was it that first like early on the season when they couldn't find the guy where were they? Were they in Greece? Um and they got super lost in the very beginning, but it was like in Greece it was very challenging because it was all these like kind of winding roads that looked the same. So maybe that's where they're taking that from, but since then I feel like they were quite strong in their navigation.
I mean, they've just been finishing up, you know, in top teams, and we haven't been seeing them struggle in the edit. So I was like, what are they? Are they leading us into they get lost and confused in the finale? Or like, why is this all of the sudden part of the story? But I guess they're bad with directions is what we learn here. Then we go into this very cool pit stop where you have to bike in to this like little alcovey pond type area. Then you zip line down and swim over to the platform. This is so fun.
So fun. These are the things that I love about the Amazing Race. It's just like so many just activities that you have to just say yes to and do it. You know, you can't be like scared, you can't hesitate, like you just have to like go for it. And so I love that they put this at the pit stop. And so when you want to get there, you got to do this. It's fun.
Yes, and it looks so cool. It was very, very beautiful. Heath and Tony are just flying through this. They're going to get there first. They're going to win a trip. Congrats to you guys. Then Paco and Mori, our hubbies, are able to get there in second. Obviously, they did lose their lead in being lost or whatever, but second place, not too shabby.
It seems like everybody got lost going to this pit stop. Or in some way, shape, or form. Like the order really turned around getting to this pit stop. So they didn't really show us how people made these mistakes, but it seemed like everybody, made some sort of error getting to the pit stop.
Yes, this was clearly not a straight shot or clear where they were supposed to go. Tiffany and Cynthia, our aunt and niece, are going to come in third on this leg. Angel and Frankie in fourth. Our church friends. Then all of a sudden it's dark, it's nighttime, and Kelly and Georgia show up in fifth place. They were trying to make it seem like fifth and sixth were going to be tight and close.
And it wasn't.
But then all of a sudden it was like clearly Kelly and Georgia are in fifth place. And then so much to the point that Bo is walking the path looking for Lauren and Steph to tell them no need to continue.
So they don't even get to be at the pit stop when they're like eliminated.
Aww. No, I was like, where did they go? They tell us that it turned into a 3-hour drive for them, which was
3-hour tour.
3-hour tour, which I believe was like double what it should have been. It was like an hour or something.
So this must have gone the wrong direction for too long.
Oh my gosh, ladies. That's bad at directions. Paco and Mori figured it out better than that.
Yeah, like if whenever I've been going in the wrong direction, I always knew that I was going in the wrong direction. And you just have that kind of feeling like something about this doesn't feel right. And sometimes you just like, oh, maybe I'm just feeling, maybe I don't, it's not true. And you just kind of push through. But it's never been wrong whenever I've had that feeling. I'm always like, why don't I just turn around an hour before or 20 minutes earlier or whatever it was.
Right.
They had an inkling.
Yeah, this was really just like, I mean, I was upset to see Lauren and Steph go, but like, whoa, you drove around for 3 hours. It's so late. They had to shut the pit stop down. Like, yeah, I can't argue that. You got to go.
You gotta go. You don't. Yeah,
you don't get to go to the final for that. No. I did think it was interesting that Kelly and Georgia didn't bike in. Did you realize that?
What did they do?
They were running, and one of them is like, "Where are the bikes?" I think it was Georgia, because then Kelly was like, "Don't worry about it." And they just kept running. And then we just see them on the zip line. And I was like, oh, okay. So we don't have to bike in?
I didn't notice. I think I just assumed that they found the bikes and got to the pits, the zip line.
Yes, that greeter was very, very beautiful. Yeah, I mean, they might have eventually found the bikes, but we never saw them in the edit. So I'm not sure that happened. All right. Well, Lauren and Steph, I'm glad you came back, but sorry to see you go.
Mm-hmm. Nice, great team.
We move on.
If they came back for like an all-star season, I'd be okay with that. They were nice.
Yeah. Episode 19, we get the information that we now get to fly home. We're going to Perth.
I like them outside of Australia. I think it's because I'm sorry, Australia. But no, we just saw a whole season of Australia only. So it was just really nice to see just different cultures and countries and stuff like that, and traditions. And it could also be from me just doing Raising Grace Canada, and it was all in Canada. I just feel like it's, I don't know. I like the eye candy of being outside of our traditional countries.
I hear you for sure. But when you go back home, it feels like the finale, right?
True. Like it's almost done.
Right. We usually end a season at home. And so I started to just get those vibes of like, this is it. This is the home stretch. Plus, I mean, just as a foreigner, I think Australia is just stunning and amazing. So to me, I'm like, they're still in a foreign country. Tiffany and Cynthia are apparently from the Perth area, or this western part of Australia. So there's a little bit of discussion that they have a little bit of a leg up. And we do kind of hear like they understand roads or routes, but it doesn't really seem to play into positions.
Not so much. I didn't even notice.
Roadblock. Who's feeling grounded? Chantele.
Am I grounded? No, you're more grounded than me.
Yes, but this is definitely going to you.
Oh, right. Of course, I'll do this one for sure.
In life, yes, more grounded. But in planes, you.
100%. I'll be the plane. Like no problem.
Yes. Great. So you're going to go up in an airplane, a little small jet with a pilot who's going to be doing tricksy tricks while you have to memorize information that's given to you.
Love this. This is fun.
It is a very fun task. For those who can do it.
Well, not fun for some people. Like barfing. I mean, I've never been like seasick or like motion sickness or anything like that, so I don't know how that happens. I'm just like, why? What's wrong? I think you just have like a stomach of steel. I don't know, but like I'm just like, how does that happen? But it's never happened before.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I've ever thrown up from like spinning upside down, but I don't spin upside down too often, so I might not actually know. Tony is up in the plane first. Then we see Paco and Cynthia going up. The teachers are going to arrive last. They have to wait with the church friends. So we see that these 3 planes can go up, but no more than that. Tony's going to do some puking, but she's going to get it all correct and finish first. Our hubbies are out third, Aunt's out fourth. Angel and Kelly go up and out. Like no mix up here. Everyone's still in order.
And everybody seemed to not have any trouble memorizing the information.
Mm-hmm.
Questions were seemingly easy, but no, we didn't see anybody have any trouble.
And those who kept their food down were able to take notes. Like some people were writing
notes.
Yeah. But if you're like, once you're like this, but everyone seemed to get it just fine. Yeah. The Swan Bell Tower. Play some notes in unison.
Love
it's
it.
Tricky.
Different.
Tricky. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've seen bell stuff before, but can you actually do it in unison? It takes a little
practice, but
practice. Yeah.
I feel like you can get into the rhythm. I would hope you can get to the rhythm pretty easily, but I thought it was a fun, like a different task. I haven't really seen something exactly like that before.
I feel like if you were one of these earlier teams, you had the benefit of being able to just do it until you figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
But later, if somebody's waiting, we see it factors in. You only get, I think it was 4 minutes.
Yeah.
That's short time. So Heath and Tony are able to figure it out, in and out first. Then Tiffany and Cynthia, they're going to do it a few times, but finish second. Paco and Maury in and out for third. But the teachers are going to race in there, beating Angel and Frankie to get in first. But they're going to struggle a little bit. They don't get it. They have to bump out, let Angel and Frankie go in next. And then Angel is gonna lose it.
I mean, and to her credit, the judge, he was kind of annoying. You know how he was, I can't remember, what was the line that he said? I think I wrote it down.
Yeah, it was just like, again.
Sorry, again, or whatever it was. And she just was like, like, it was perfect. And I was like, I could see if I was getting a little bit worked up that how he was saying that we were wrong and it sucked might get under my skin, but I thought it was it was humorous for me.
I was just like, girl, he's doing his job. You're the one not doing it right. Like, he's just like, nope, again. Like, what was he supposed to be like? Excuse me, sorry. You know what? Sorry, that wasn't quite it. How about you do it again? Like,
Obviously he didn't do it incorrectly but I can understand being at that heightened level of stress that like everything that he was saying would just like be getting under your skin and just driving you crazy. So
yeah,
I understood it, but he didn't do anything wrong. Absolutely didn't deserve any of the way she treated him at all.
No, and she does apologize. Like, obviously Frankie has to calm her down outside because she's just like full on having a meltdown. But she does say, oh, so sorry about cussing at you earlier. So that was nice of her. But the teachers are going to get it on the next try, get out. And then Angel and Frankie are going to be the last ones to leave here, which takes us to Ready Racer 1, a little virtual first person shooter type thing.
Pause. I wanted to say one thing, a note that I made from the end of the last leg. When they're all driving, I remember when they all bumped up and like Paco and Maury ended up being in front of Cynthia and Tiffany, and like one of them was saying like, oh, like who's behind us? Who's behind us? And like they totally just didn't even recognize Cynthia and Tiffany. And I'm like, you've been on the race with them for like 2 months probably, at minus a month, whatever. But like you have no idea who these people were. I just thought it was funny that like it's like us too. Like, who knew? Like, you guys don't know who they are either. I thought it was humorous.
That is humorous because everyone else knew all the other cars. Yeah. They were like, oh, I know who's in the blue car and the orange car. And then they were like, who are these people? Are they on the race with
us? Like, who are those people?
I feel like they're on the race, but I can't quite figure it out. That was funny. This video game thing looked so fun.
Love it.
Love full on VR. Yeah, your whole body, you're in it. You've got to kill some aliens or whatever. There's really no issues until Kelly and Georgia show up.
Sorry, it's VR, not motion capture, but you knew what I meant.
Heath and Tony in and out. Tiffany and Cynthia, no problems, in and out. Then the hubbies go. Our church friends are going to arrive, Angel and Frankie, and then Kelly and Georgia show up, and they act like this is so confusing. They're falling over each other, like they can't even stop running into each other. What? No one else had a problem there.
I think that they just didn't. I don't know. Maybe their brain wasn't catching up with what was going on in their screen, so they just forgot that they have their own surrounding. I don't know. It was funny though.
It was very funny. George is like, Kelly, I'm right here. And he's like, oh, bump, bump. And they like have this whole, like, they try to, make it seem like there's an issue with them. They have to sort of like replug in, but they're still going to get through it, get out. Not a big deal, but they are in last place at this time. Now, let's go to Vertigo. Okay, well, that right there, that's going to make me worried by that name. We're hanging upside down. We're at the top of a stadium.
Sure.
Beautiful stadium. I love going to stadiums. They're at the top. They're going to hang upside down. They're going to read words. upside down and have
Yeah.
to memorize them.
Easy.
No big
It's
deal.
6 words.
Just do that. Our married couple, Heath and Tony, are going to get there first. They do get it wrong at first. They don't quite have it memorized, but they get to go again. Not a big deal, right?
Not a big deal. I did like this task. I was like, oh, this is cool. I guess it's something a little bit different. Like, it wasn't like that, like wow, but like they did something different. And so I was like, oh, I really, really was kind of blindsided by how this task went.
Oh yeah, no, it's about to get really bad. But while we're on Heath and Tony, I feel like they've been doing so well, and
Mm-hmm,
they've got this positive energy in
mm-hmm.
them right now that they were really enjoying it, even though it's like silly, crazy task, puking in a plane. Like none of it seems to bother them though.
Yeah,
They're
no,
in a
they definitely
really
have a great attitude.
yeah, they're in a good mental place. So they're enjoying this. Um, Tiffany and Cynthia are going to show up next. They're going to get it wrong the first time and have to try it again. But this is when we start to realize Paco and Maury are showing up, and Maury is scared of heights. We are on leg 19, and we had no idea about this
They
fear.
kept this from us on purpose. They
I
must have,
can't believe
because
it didn't come up.
well, I guess like the plain one that we just saw was he didn't have to do it,
We didn't
so
have to
we
do
didn't
it.
see him be nervous about it at all. Um I was like, what?
Yeah,
Like
what?
I felt like kind of blindsided. Like it just like it really came for me out of nowhere
Yeah,
that like I was gonna have to be worried for whether or not he was gonna do this task. Like I just did not see it coming at all.
nope.
And it really upset me.
Yes.
I wasn't
Yeah,
prepared.
this is devastating news. We have been open and honest about who we wanted to win this season. And all of a sudden, we're at a task where one of them has a legit fear. And like I've talked about how like once that anxiety hits you, there's not a lot you can do once you go into a panic attack. And yeah, I agree. I didn't know that this was something to even consider. And
Mhm.
I am
And then
completely worried at
when
this
I'm
point.
hearing him like trying to motivate him and be like, all the
No,
things that we have
no, stop.
overcome and like
Oh my
how
God.
we've like the adversity we've faced in our life, we've done so many things that are harder than this. We're so close to the end. I'm like, oh my God, please let this work. I'm like, please let this work. And he was just like, it was shut down. And when he said, he's like, I really wanted him to do it, but I couldn't even, not even me. He said, not even me.
Not even me. No.
Oh,
This pep talk was one for the books. I was like, someone clip it,
I'm going to clip
get it
it.
out there because everyone needs this pep talk. Like this, like he's like, we came out of the closet. Like we have done harder things than this. And oh man, you just like feel it in your soul. But you also, or at least I can understand, there's nothing you can say, especially like I wonder what their conversations were going into this. Like what happens if we both have to do a heights challenge? Can he talk himself into doing it, or is it just a no-go?
I feel
You
like it was
know?
like a no-go. Like I think that they were just hoping for the best. And I think
Right.
that they knew that this would end their race if it came up.
Oh my gosh. Well, in the meantime, while they're having all of their pep talks and trying to get through this, uh, we do see our church friends arrive. They
They were
aren't
so
able to.
sweet too. To
Well,
like,
sure. You're like, wait, what's going on? Why are y'all down here?
yeah, they're like, what's
Right?
and then they're like, she even said in her confession. Oh, well, it's actually we'll get to there, but like, I was just like, there's a compassion there that like they really do care for these people that are on the race, and like they see that she's struggling, but they're like, oh my God, but the race still goes on for us, and like, oh, I'm sorry that you can't do this. Like, we don't want you to not be able to do this, but we kind of have to still continue on. And I was like,
Right.
oh.
Yeah, I mean, they're like, whoa, what's going on? But they go up there, they're gonna not be able to get it the first time. Um, the teachers, though, are able to Kelly, or not Kelly, Georgia memorizes all six by herself. Kelly's useless.
Do we know what the
And
words meant? What they were representing?
what was it? What? Yes, what? They said 6 seasons of what?
I didn't
This
catch it.
show? I was like, that's not the titles of Amazing Race seasons.
Mm-mm.
They were not words that I understood. I just kept hearing him say like the 6 seasons of something.
Maybe
Was
it's
it
like an
did it
indigenous
have to do
season.
with the stadium? Maybe a show in the stadium.
I have no
Uh,
idea.
Such a good question. Okay, so where are we? Our teachers, Kelly and Georgia, get it
Mm-hmm.
and leave. And this is when we see Paco and Maury say, we have to go ahead and take the time penalty and leave. And at this point, I'm like, y'all should have taken it so
That's I
long
didn't
ago.
understand that either. And I was like, if you knew that you weren't going to be able to do this, you'd just be like, hey man, like time penalty, let's not even waste any time. Let's see if we could just like cut our losses and go get to the pit stop and cross your fingers. Cause like if you know that 100% there's no chance that you're going to do it, like just take the penalty at that point.
It's not television seasons, weather seasons. Oh my God, I'm such a television person. That's the only thing I understand when you say seasons.
Interesting. I
Got
did think
it.
when you said seasons, I was like, oh, but there's like 6 seasons. I was like, interesting.
Yeah, Aboriginal seasons.
Okay. Mhm.
Okay, cool. Thank you. Um, Television seasons. That's all I know. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I understand. Like, okay, I'm trying to get you to do it. Let's talk through this. Let's like go. Let's go. But how? Yeah, how long?
Maybe
Because
the producers made them wait longer. You'd be like, hey, you got to go up and try for like the footage of it all.
right. I mean, we definitely know that your time penalty is affected by how long you
Stay.
try at
Mm-hmm.
a challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So had they just called it
Maybe it would
immediately,
have been like an hour or something.
yeah, it could have been longer. But I mean, Maury made it pretty clear. Like he didn't seem like he was actually
Yeah.
possibly going. He
Not
was
at
just
all.
saying, I can't do it. Paco, listen to me. I can't do it. And Paco was like, come on. And he was like, you're not hearing me. You know, it's kind of what we were seeing.
Yeah. And I think like he just felt as though, hey, we're on the Amazing Race. We're so close to winning. Like that would have been enough to be able to get him over it. I don't think that he really understood how debilitating his fear was. But I just didn't understand also though, like he didn't seem to have a problem with the zip line. That would be, I would think, would be scarier, like heights into the pit stop,
That wasn't
right?
that high.
Oh, I mean, I thought that would be scarier though than what they had to do
Right.
in a harness.
Yeah. Again, I'm so shocked it has not come up before. Like no other task was like slightly high. I can't remember all the challenges now, but there had to have been things with heights,
Maybe
right?
not though.
I don't know. But okay, so they're gonna finally take this time penalty, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So now all we need is Angel and Frankie. They finally get it. They're gonna come down. This pit stop is just painful. Okay. Heath and Tony coming in first place. Proud of you guys. Y'all are killing
Good
it.
job. Good job.
Good job. Tiffany and Cynthia,
Who knew?
second place and smiling.
Do we see teeth?
We did. They were
Yeah.
happy. Maybe because they're finally back in Australia. I don't know, but I was very excited to see them happy.
I think it's because the race is almost over.
Almost over. We're like, please, we're almost there. Kelly and Georgia come in third. We see Paco and Maury arrive and are told they have a 15-minute penalty.
No
It's
big
not that
deal.
long. Sure. But Angel and Frankie are going to arrive while the clock says like 15 seconds.
I mean, they must have
15
just done that for dramatic. It's like, but yeah. I mean, I wouldn't have wanted, to be honest, Angel and Frankie to be going out this way either. Like,
Well, I don't know. So here's the question. Like, yeah, obviously I'm like devastated that Paco and Maury are being eliminated at this time. But I'm also like, what if they hadn't had this issue? It would have been Angel and Frankie leaving, who are one of the strongest teams, if not the strongest team in this entire show. Like, that just boggles the mind. But had Angel and Frankie been eliminated just because they came in last place, that would have been shocking, but it would have been part of the race. The fact that Paco and Maury went out because they just couldn't handle the heights is like, whoa. It just kind of hits you differently, right?
And when, like, you know, Angel, she's a little bit self-centered and millennial-centered or whatever, but like when she was like, oh my God, like I definitely didn't want this to happen this way. And she's like, I wanted you guys to win. You guys deserve to win. And I'm like, she knew. Even she knew that like they were just a great representation for this whole season.
Yeah.
And she, like, you know, they're just kind of like holding their head down, but taking the win, but not happy with how it went down.
Yeah. I mean, I would love to hearing that she was like, we're supposed to be in the finals together. Because it's true. They are supposed to be in the finals together. They've run this entire season, you know, neck and neck at the front of the pack. This is crazy that those were our last two teams.
Yeah. It was,
yeah.
I was like, I watched both those episodes yesterday and I was like, do I even want to watch the next one? I'm like, I was really devastated.
Yeah.
I really just want to see them really at least run the whole race. You know, I felt that I really enjoyed them so much. And and the fact that we were blindsided by this fear, like also, I felt like smacked in the face with like, ha, you're losing your favorites. And we didn't even prepare you for this.
Yes. Oh, yeah. This really took me on emotional. I watched it last night right before I like sat down to eat dinner. And then I was in a bad mood all night. And I was like, this is because of Paco and Maury. I'm in a bad mood. Oh, so sorry to see them go. But this moves us on to episode 20 with our top 4. And I can't believe it. But Tiffany and Cynthia and Kelly and Georgia, 2 returning teams, have made it to the top 4. They did it.
I mean, they did it. Like, obviously, for them, I think it's amazing. Like, I would hate to have been taken out of the race for COVID and like lose my opportunity. So, I'm never upset for them like being able to live through their dream. But I'm still a little bit bitter, Betty, about like the sisters being taken out. Like, I would rather the sisters have been there, and like, you know, I just
sure.
Yeah, you get what I'm feeling. And so like it's hard for me I'm not really rooting for them. I'm rooting for Angel and Frankie and Tony and Heath at this point.
Yeah.
I'm not really rooting for the returning teams to win, unfortunately, which probably means that one of them will win.
That'll be so interesting. But this is a very interesting point to me. I actually didn't realize it until I saw Sepha's tweet that with the loss of Paco and Maury, they were our last 2 male teams standing. That means a woman is going to win. And that's never happened in Amazing Race Australia history.
Shocking.
I did not know that was a thing.
Yeah.
And that's really unacceptable. So that's the only upside to losing Paco and Maury, is that we're going to get a female winner for the first time.
That's like, so like 2 women have not won the Amazing Race Australia. Like that's
definitely not 2 women, but not even one woman.
Well, I mean, but like but the fact that 2 women though as well, like just like there hasn't been a strong female team that's able to win in 11 plus seasons. Is that what I saw? Like,
yes,
or years.
Well, years. This is 6. Yeah, I mean, insane. So I guess we'll celebrate that. But Paco and Maury for redemption season or something. Although heights will come up again.
Yeah, I mean, what did they have to do?
There's always going to be
bungee jump challenge that what's her name had to do? Kim Holderness, like that, like
Yikes.
There'd be
Yikes.
no chance that he would do anything like that.
Episode 20. Take us a ferry, take a ferry to Rottnest Island. This roadblock is called Who's Ready to Drop? Not I, said the fly.
What if though our road they're imbalanced?
Yeah, no, if I had been forced to do this, we'd be pulling a Paco Mori and I'd be taking the time penalty immediately.
Sarah, time penalty?
Well, in Australia, it's okay. You guys do it. In America, maybe I wouldn't.
If I could do it, though, I would do it for sure.
I went like numb every single time we saw a shot of them opening the door. Like my body, just like all the blood, like left my body, and I was like, just at the sight of them doing it, I'd be having. I would have to pass out. I would just have to pass out and be like, just take me. I can't look.
And what I was just watching something else recently today they're telling a story about a guy that went skydiving and they kept on passing it. Was that on the show? Kept on passing out when they're skydiving. And so then he'd come back to and be like, ah! And then you just like pass out. Well, anyways, I just heard that story. I don't know where it was from. Somebody was telling it on something I was listening to.
No, this
scary,
is all
but I'd do it.
Okay, good. It's a 15,000-foot skydive, and I wrote in all caps, nope. We get packages here for the final four, and I'm sorry, but Heath and Tony's package is just far and above everyone else's.
Absolutely. And he stuck by me through this, and it's like, you guys have been on a journey. Like, you definitely have the winning story, 100%. Winning race, like it would be quite poetic. So I'm rooting for them. And then obviously Angel and Frankie, who also had a pretty decent story, I would say, with like her father, and like, her father passed away and she's like the oldest of a bunch of siblings. No, you didn't care? No,
that didn't do anything for me. I mean, I'm sorry that you lost your father. That's never fun. But her package didn't do anything for me. The only other one that I cared about was Tiffany and Cynthia's, honestly.
Sweet.
And I was like, wow, I feel for them in this moment. I'm actually rooting for them a little bit now. Like, their lack of just like showing any enthusiasm this entire time was really bizarre. But they do seem very proud and excited to make it here to this Final Four. So those were the two packages I liked.
Yeah. Did we really see one from Kelly and Georgia? I don't remember. I might have.
Yes.
What did they?
They were like, we left our school behind, and I was like, okay, this is not.
It doesn't compare.
Okay. She was like, we left our little apartment and our school and our little kids behind to go on the race, and I was like, okay, great. Your teacher. Cool. That's nice. It doesn't hit the same when you just see this like package of Tony dying and they want to spend the money on living, quality of life before she dies. That just hits differently.
Yeah, it's definitely.
I think this is when Angel, though, is like, I don't know, he's been there for me. Or maybe it was later. But she does kind of allude to like Frankie has been really great to her. And I was like,
yeah.
I mean, you should recognize Angel. He has been very great to you.
And she does say in one of her ITMs that she's like, there's like one compliment I'm going to say to you for today or something like that. And he, he probably is just like waiting for this, like just the moment that she says something nice to him, because then he could pretend that they're in a relationship.
He was like, she's almost there, guys. She's almost there.
I mean, I think he's patient, so maybe he'll just wait another couple of years.
Frankie.
But then they'd lose a best friend.
Okay. You got to write a little segue to the plane, which was just cute. Heath heads up first. Then we see Georgia going up. Heath seemed like he was loving it. Georgia was screaming the whole time. Frankie goes up third. Then Cynthia. No one's going to have like a major struggle with this. But watching anyone dangle off the side of a plane just really was having trouble breathing. Red chat was that sleep. Then we had a ferry back. So like we just ferried over and now we're ferrying back. And it seemed like Tiffany and Cynthia were not going to make this ferry. They were running.
They didn't make it.
They did make it.
I thought they were on a different ferry.
No, they made it. It was waiting for them.
Oh. Well, because I was like, but then why would they make a big deal about saying like, and if you don't get on the ferry, like, you know.
So that they could edit it with them running and being like, we're coming.
Because it just seemed like whatever they were on was like a smaller boat. But yeah, if they're at the ferry, that's fine too.
They made it on the ferry. All the teams are on the ferry. They're going to go to this beer task where they're moving these big sacks of malt. Once they do 20 of them, which were very heavy, then they got to chug that big 1.4 liters of non-alcoholic beer. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I didn't think that would be so challenging for people, but apparently that's very hard to do. You don't like beer?
I mean, I'm not a fan of beer. Like I was really feeling Georgia when she was like, it's gross. But it's kind of because it's like yeasty and malty and it's not like water. Like chugging something thin, but beer's not really thin, right? You know what I'm saying?
I can chug a beer.
Well, I could chug one like glass of a beer, but I think that I would.
How much was it again? You said how many?
1.4 liters.
What would that be in like pints?
Well, I don't know. Do you get like a liter of Pepsi at the store? You know, like a two. Oh,
I mean, I don't, but I know how much that would be.
Right. Like at a convenience store or something, they make those. Like, so you're chugging one of those, I guess. I think I would have been like Heath. Like I could get through it, but it was going to take me a second, right?
I think I'd be okay, but I like a good chug. It was one of my superpowers when I was a bartender. I'd be like, I'll beat you in a let's chug. So
Chantele. Yes. Know about Chantele. She's really good at chugging. Alrighty.
I can chug. There's actually this one guy I remember you guys have Smirnoff Ice in the States, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when that first came out, it was like 1999, and I was working for a promo company where we had them as a client. And so what we were doing was we were Smirnoff officers, so Smirnoff Ice officers, and we were dressed with like, you know, our shirt tied and our like knee-high boots with a mini skirt with like, you know, a hat and aviators. And they always elected me to get on the megaphone and run in with the sirens on and jump up on the bar and be like, all right, everybody freeze. This is a Smirnoff Ice raid. Nobody move. Nobody gets hurt. And so we go around and we'd give people infractions like, oh, illegal boy band member, or, oh, you know, illegal mullet legs or whatever, like these silly little like infractions. And then they'd go and argue their ticket with like the one guy that was on our thing. And I remember one time we did this. And so everybody when they argued their ticket, they would get a cozy that said Smirnoff Ice on it, and they'd get a full Smirnoff Ice. And so this one guy was like, I bet you I could chug this Smirnoff Ice before any of you guys. Like, let's just have a competition. So he takes the Smirnoff Ice, he pours it in a glass, and I swear he takes it, he opens his mouth, and it's like it just it's retracted, and it was just like
right.
Blah, blah, and just like the whole glass like of Smirnoff Ice, an entire bottle just like went down his throat in one. I've never in my life seen anything like it. He beat us.
That would do it. Yep. Mm-hmm. That would do it.
He beat us.
I feel like I'm just a normal like chugger. Like I can somewhat chug, but I've not entered a contest about it. It might take some effort. Yeah.
And what about shotguns? Can you shotgun?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you well, you were a bartender, so do you know flaming Dr. Peppers?
What's in it? I mean, I know of their flaming things. Oh, I know when you drop it, like a drop shot.
You drop
like
the shot
into beer
a beer, right? Yeah. So it's a shot of amaretto that you light on fire. Like, who cares about that part? Mm-hmm. But you drop it into a beer. You know, slam it down, and you have to chug it to like get the whole thing. So that's
like an Irish car bomb. Oh my god, I have an Irish car bomb story.
Ugh. I don't think I've ever done one of those.
Well, since we're on the topic, Irish car bomb basically is a Guinness, and then you're dropping in a shot that's like half Bailey's, half Irish whiskey, and so similar to a Dr. Pepper shot. And I was working the day shift at this bar for St. Patrick's Day, and I was just doing car bomb for car bomb, so I was just challenging people to like out car bomb me. And so this one kid, he was really young, he thought that he could. So I think we did like 3 together. And on the third one, it didn't go down. And he just went, and it was just like car bomb shrapnel, like all over, like on my face. And it was all around me. I just like shrapnel of like Irish car bomb.
Guinness is tough. Like, that's a real thick. Oh. I'm not chugging a Guinness or anything in it. That's so much. That's crazy.
Well, imagine having someone's Guinness barf all over your face.
I did love that. Obviously, the prime minister was like, I'm going to chug a beer. Like, I don't know that we've ever had a president who was like, I'll chug a beer.
Love it.
Yeah, very cool. This is when I wrote down, Kelly, she's fine. Leave her alone. And then Georgia says, shut the F up. And
you're like,
old, big time. I was like, thank you, Georgia.
Well, I was shocked though, because that she was like, she's never really ever had a beer. I was like, oh.
Right. But I get it. It doesn't taste great.
Some beers are delicious.
Okay. I believe you. Like, why does Kelly have to tell other people what to do at all times? I just want him to stop talking sometimes. Like, they even point out in the edit how Frankie, he's like talking as well, but he's saying, you've got this, good job, keep going. But that's not what Kelly's doing, because they edited that together, Kelly being like, Georgia, do it like this. You need to calm down. You need to do this. You're not going to do well if you do it like this. It's like, oh my gosh.
Like, she's figured out how to swallow liquids before. She doesn't need your liquid swallowing coaching, Kelly.
Oh, yeah, carrying the bag. He's like, you have to do it this way. She was like, I will carry the bag the way that I want to carry the bag. And you need to shut up. And I was like, thank you. This poor girl, like I could see it in her head. Like it's behind her eyes that she's been wanting to say it, but not on camera. And then she finally was like, dude, you got to stop.
It was go Georgia.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. Angel and Frankie are able to overtake the teachers, but we did get Heath and Tony out first. Tiffany and Cynthia are going to struggle at this task because these are really heavy bags and they're doing the best they can. But
so how did they get so far in the back? That's also probably why I was thinking that they were on like another ferry or another boat of some sort, because it didn't seem like they got to that beer task in the same amount of time as everybody else. So that also led to why I believe that they were on something else, a different form of transportation.
Well, but we did see them doing it while other
they did reach there while everybody was still there, but they didn't really land there at the exact same time as everybody else. So I just assumed, I'm like, oh, they're like 20 minutes, so maybe it was another ferry or another boat or something.
You've seen the speed that they move.
That's true.
True. They just moseyed on over. They moseyed on over, but those bags were so big that they're gonna like get pushed back. And then by this point, they're not editing how long it took them to even do the drinks, because now we're focused on this bum bag that Kelly so wisely just dropped and forgets, and the ladies see it, and so they're like,
we might have a chance.
Yeah, somebody has made a mistake. Hopefully, this helps us. So we don't even know like how long it took them to drink or whatever. We move on to the next task.
How did you feel about Kelly's burps?
I was like, those are the exact burps I would have.
I was just like hearing him burp. I'm just like, it just made me mad at him. Like, I know it's a natural thing. I'm just like, like so loud and obnoxious, his stupid burps.
No, I like him burping better than talking.
Okay, I agree. I do agree.
I was like, yeah, get those burps. I'm a big fan of burps. I think people who burp well, it's a skill. This convict punishment is what we're moving on to next, which was just weird and bizarre. We're going to get in stocks and we're going to have to catch some food. This is hard.
It's hard. It's hard. I don't know. I don't know if I'd feel comfortable doing that. It just, I mean, I would do it obviously, but it just was a little bit odd for a task.
Yeah, because it's not like hard, but it's oddly challenging, right?
Yes. And I was also, I love the ingenuity of Angel, like being like, let's try instead of doing it this way with our head through, like to go upside down. It would be easier to maybe lob it into the mouth. And obviously everybody's going to copy it because it's a better idea. But like, I just was annoyed that everybody could see that in order to copy it, you know?
Right. Yeah. These kind of tasks where you're just all there together is real tough with that. So yeah, that's obviously going to make a difference when you can catch food that way. Like catching food like this just doesn't, I don't know how that was ever going to work.
Well, it's like, have you ever tried like lobbing popcorn into someone's mouth? They're never just like,
yeah, they never go like this.
They're like, ah.
Yeah, exactly. So even though Heath and Tony get there first, they are not going to be able to keep their lead here. And obviously, Tiffany and Cynthia are in last place, but the teachers, Kelly and Georgia, are going to be able to finish first here. And this is when I was like, uh-oh, they're in first. A lost bum bag does not factor in. When they're second to last, yes. Mm-hmm. But that's when I realized that.
Well, I wasn't sure how far the distance was where the bum bag was and if they were going to remember where it was left. And so when they were arguing over like whether or not they needed it, I personally was hoping that he would get his way and not go back and get it. And then George would be like, I was right. And then they get eliminated or they have a penalty or whatever. We have to go back and get it on the mat. I was hoping for that outcome because that would have been just desserts from my experience with Kelly.
Oh, yeah. For sure. But George is not going to let that happen. So Angel and Frankie finish second. Then Heath and Tony get out. And Tiffany and Cynthia are going to leave this last. We're going to the Bon Scott statue just to get the clue to lead you to the pit stop. This is when Kelly realizes he doesn't have his bum bag, which I call a fanny pack.
I call a fanny pack as well.
I'm just saying bum bag because it's Australian.
Yes, Australian.
So, yes, Kelly being Kelly, the mansplainer that he is like, not important. Let's just go to the pit stop.
And she's like, no.
George is like, no, we know rules. Remember, we're sticklers to the rules. You have to have it. And he's like, no, you don't. She basically drags him back to get it. She forces him to do this.
I really wish she didn't, but good on her. If they win this race, it's because of her.
Yes, agreed. In just about everything, that would be the case. But yeah, she does the right thing here. She does not let him
lead them bad decision
astray. Because had they gone to the pit stop and gotten turned around, then maybe Tiffany and Cynthia had a shot. Although editing wise, I'm not so sure. But we can talk about that in a second here. So they're gonna run off back to that brewery, which allows the other teams to catch up to them. So we do see the running to the pit stop because the camera people for each team, we can see overlapping and you can see when they kind of like catch up. And yeah, it was very fun because I was really looking for each team's color to see who was actually in the mix here. And unfortunately, Tiffany and Cynthia were not
even on that runway. Or whatever
in that. When they finally cut to Tiffany and Cynthia fast walking to the pit stop, they weren't in that mix at all. So Kelly and Georgia still make it in first place to the mat, but Angel and Frankie and Heath and Tony are right there. It is a boom, boom, boom. All three of them are on the mat. And that's our final three.
I really hope that one of the two other teams will pull out a win here. Personally, I'll be so frustrated if it's Kelly and Georgia. I mean, they are. We did always say that they were a pretty strong team, and obviously for reasons that I've already stated a gazillion times. Like I would love to reward somebody that's been on the entire journey. And so for them, I think that like, hey, you ran as much of the race as you could. You got to the final three, but I think these people that ran every single race and were always in the front of the pack for the entire season really deserve to have the win. Deserve.
Yeah, I mean, I hear ya. Tiffany and
you want them to win? You want Kelly and Georgia to win?
I'm not going to say that. I'm just going to say, first off, Tiffany and Cynthia do finally arrive on the mat and are eliminated. And I do want to say props to Tiffany and Cynthia because they went way further than I ever expected. And even though they were a returning team and probably could have been potentially eliminated during that time that they were in isolation, they really earned their spots here ever since they got back.
So, I personally would have rather them in the final three.
Personality wise, I can see that. Yeah, I was definitely rooting for them for the first time in the whole season, but definitely rooting for them this episode. I was really just feeling their vibe. And I wanted to root for them in the beginning because of the whole aunt-niece dynamic. I'm not a mom, but I am an aunt, and I love being an aunt, and I love the idea of running the race with one of my nieces or nephews. And so I wanted to love them. Was a little disappointed that
you might have if we had their personalities be showcased a little bit more.
Exactly. But for this final three, I mean, it is bizarre that we don't have the sisters and we don't have the hubbies. Like, I really needed them in the finals. Kelly and Georgia are strong, and so if they do pull out a win, I'm going to take it for what it is. That means that Angel and Frankie and Heath and Tony messed up, probably. And so that is just the realities of the race. But yes, at this point, I feel like I would really like Heath and Tony to win just because of their story.
For sure.
But Angel and Frankie are such a strong team. I would not be surprised if they win, right? And I support that. That's what I'll say, right?
I totally agree with you. And I mean, fine. If any of the final three teams win, they deserve it because I do feel like all the teams are very strong. And so it would most likely be that the other teams messed up. So if Kelly and Georgia do pull out the win, I will congratulate them.
Yes,
but
right.
It's not my first two picks who I would prefer.
Yeah, I mean, I can't ever imagine thinking that Tiffany and Cynthia could have pulled out a win. They don't even run. So that would have been a long shot, but it would have been a first to have a female winning team, you know? How do you guys use the word root? Are we saying something offensive when we say rooting for? Maths, y'all. Oopsie, Carolyn says going like, for.
Well, because it's like root for the home team. If they don't win, it's a shame.
You root.
One. Yeah, we're rooting.
You root for a team. Cheering. I feel like we're saying something very inappropriate.
Ooh.
It ruined your day. Oh my God, ruined your life. Oh, the drama. I love it.
Okay, I'm not the only one that's not a
fan. Supporting is fine.
But I could say support as well, but root is like in these type of it's kind of like stan or like it's just so obviously there's many words, but in sport type things, rooting, what team are you rooting for is something that I definitely say.
Yeah, so in these final legs that have to do with the race that you ran, are they going to leave out all of the legs that were happening during isolation?
Probably. Which
That's
I think is also
crazy.
unfair. Well, I know it. Right, unjust.
Just-
um, for the people that have been there the whole time. It makes it easier for the people that weren't on the race, I feel. But we'll see how
Well,
they
I
do it.
mean, the people who raced it are just I mean, you're skipping the same legs for
No, I know, but
everybody.
like the momentum though, like sometimes like I'll remember something like a whole sequence of things, but if
Mm.
you kind of take out a block, it kind of ruins the flow of like memory for me. So I don't know, we'll see how it pans out.
Thank you for explaining it.
Oh, okay, that's
Oh,
fun.
getting
Maybe it did mean
sexy
that.
up in here.
Really?
We're
We're rooting
having
for.
sex with Keith and Tony.
Yes,
There
let's
we
do
are.
it. Slang for having sex. Okay.
How are y'all having sex? The rooting is the
Rooting.
slang for it. I don't want
Rooting,
to
is it
know.
like kind of like grounding yourself and the like
It's like
um
a pig roots into the ground with their nose. That's not how I
oh.
have sex, y'all. That ain't it. That ain't it for me.
Pig rooting its nose into the ground.
That's the
Okay.
only version. That's the other version of rooting that I know about.
What
Is
about maybe square root? Um, so then
well,
maybe
a square
the root
root.
of a number.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Maths. Mm-hmm.
maths. No, but because that could that be sexy? Square. I think yeah, square roots are kind of sexy, like that little little yeah symbols. Quite saucy.
Uh-huh. Root or route. We'll say route.
I'll say route just because I'm Canadian.
Mm-hmm.
Because we say en route
En
is in
route.
French, so
Uh-huh.
definitely we're gonna say route. But I know you guys say route.
We say route, yeah. But route. I would understand what you meant if you were like, take this route. I would get it. What are you asking, Adrian? First two legs before the merge. Who merged? That's Survivor. What are we
First
saying?
two legs before them. Or what about the first two legs? Is that rooting? What?
Wait, is that sex? What? I'm confused. Uh, yeah, no, I mean, I think in America, Amazing Race US, you would put all of the legs in order, right? Or like all of the legs this. But I don't think is that traditionally how Australia does it, because Australia's always not always, but they've
But
had intruders and other things like that
didn't
before.
the last one they had to like climb a mountain? Wasn't it kind of like the challenge style where it's like they had to run to the top of a mountain to win?
Yes, yes, I do remember a mountain being involved.
Hmm.
I don't remember. I'd have to go back and
I
watch
don't.
how it
Oh, did they
finished.
have? Wait, they did have. Oh my gosh, this is like really dusting out the cobwebs here.
Oh, the
Um.
merge. You're right. I forgot that we had a Sydney and a Melbourne.
Oh, and so what was the question again now?
What about those legs? Because a
Oh, right, like
Melbourne leg and a
the
Sydney
original legs,
leg.
right? I think that they would start with the merged
I
leg.
don't even know who out of
Well, we
this
know Kelly.
three
Well, no, Kelly. Are they all? They're
are
all
they
part
all
of
from the same
the
place?
second group, I think.
Oh, I should have looked that up.
I think they are because I don't remember Cynthia and Tiffany, but that doesn't mean that they weren't in the first group. Melbourne was
Angel
second group,
and
right?
Frankie were from Sydney. Okay. So the teachers and the married couple are from Melbourne, and Angel and Frankie started in Sydney. Is that correct?
Was Sydney in the was that Sydney was the day one, correct? Or week one, episode one.
Oh man, I gotta look at my notes. That was a year ago.
I know, right? But actually, it wasn't actually that many months ago, but it was many
It
episodes
wasn't.
ago.
Right. It was not that. I mean, I can't believe we had 20 people and now we're down to 3. How did we get here? Yeah, just the word merge confused me, Adrian, because I was
Right.
thinking Survivor. But when they came together,
I love that moment. Was yeah, I think you know what? I think Frankie and Angel were leading the pack of the first group. I think that is correct.
they hiked up. Yeah, I remember a hike. Kelly and George are from the first group. Oh, wait.
Really?
Kelly and Georgia. The teachers were separate, and Heath and Tony were with. Heath and Tony were with Angel and Frankie. Melbourne was episode 1. Sydney was episode 2. Well, I've got my notes right here, guys. Let's just go.
Do you know what? I do think now I'm thinking about the teachers might have been part of the first group. I think that. I don't know if I have that.
Heath and Tony, Kelly and Georgia were in the same group. That I can confirm.
Episode 1?
Oh, wait, that's episode 3. That doesn't help us at all. Episode 1, Kelly and Georgia.
Teachers.
Oh, that's it. So they weren't, so they were by themselves. Let's see. Episode 2 in Sydney was Angel and Frankie came in first, and Heath and Tony came in 5th. So those 2 groups were together from Sydney in episode 2. Melbourne is Kelly and Georgia. So they're the only team from Melbourne. Wow. But Tiffany and Cynthia were from Melbourne. So that's interesting. Out of our final 4, we had 2 from each. Mm-hmm. Paco and Maury and Flick and Gabby were both from Melbourne as well. So we really liked Melbourne, apparently. But I like Heath and Tony.
Oh, yeah. And we got to remember that, because remember, that's how the whole friction between Flick and Gabby and Angel and Frankie was when Angel and Frankie came on the scene, and they were just kind of being a little bit rude to the new players. And you're like, well, we're here now. Like,
I mean, I remember that part, but I didn't remember who was.
I just remember it's because Angel came on. It seemed like she came onto the scene. But yeah.
Right. Anyway, interesting that our final 4 was 2 from 2. That's fun.
Very fun.
I have invited a special guest to come join us for the finale.
Ooh.
But this special guest is Australian, so I'm not sure that we can make it work, but I want you to know that I'm trying to make it work.
Okay.
Once I have that information, I will pass it on to Chantele to see if we can make it work.
Okay.
So timing for our finale stream, TBD, to be determined, okay?
I have flexibility.
Yay. So obviously it'll be, after the finale, sometime in the U.S. times, because we watch it later. What? Zippo? What?
Is it Bo? Your special guest?
Oh my God. I have not reached out to Bo. That would be crazy. Definitely not Bo. And then I'm also trying to get some interviews. It doesn't look like PR is working with me, but I will try.
Paco and Maury, we need it.
I will just try to talk to them over Instagram and see if I can make it work without PR. So stand by for that. But hopefully we have some postseason fun for you guys. Finale is 7:30 p.m. Australia time. So, give us half a day to at least catch up with you. Ooh, Carolyn's having sexy times.
We're giving her support while they're doing something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's probably just not used that way because it became sexy. But it still means the same thing. Yeah. It's 11:20 in Queensland, but 12:20 in Sydney. Oh yeah, because you guys had like daylight savings time or whatever. So this is very confusing.
There's a place in Canada that's East Coast that's like half an hour. Like it's like an hour. No, it's like an hour and a half ahead of Toronto. How weird is that? I'm like, what do you mean an hour and a half ahead of Toronto? Like that just like, doesn't time not work like that? But yeah, it's an hour and a half.
That's bizarre. Yeah, all these this is so bizarre. Because like Arizona in the US doesn't do daylight, but they're the only state. So it gets very confusing when we change and they don't and whatever. It is a racer. I will say that. Yeah, it's a racer, a former racer, to see if they will join us. So stay tuned, you guys. You're already subscribed and get your notifications and all that But also I try to announce things on Twitter as well if anyone keeps track of our schedule over there. So that's it for us for Australia stuff, but we also do other things. Chantele, what do we do?
Yeah, we do a little bit of little ratings on Mondays.
Survivor.
Which was it was pretty fun actually going through the cast. Like we're getting to know them now, and like I love how as the episodes go on, we know them even better, and having maybe friendly disagreements of like our opinions of people's like ratings. It's kind of fun. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this episode this week and the ratings as well.
Yes, right. And so I have recaps for Survivor and Amazing Race US. You have recaps for dating shows? What are you
Dating
doing?
shows, yeah, that's what I'm pretty much doing right now, and The Amazing Race. I was gonna do Survivor, but then I didn't do the first 2 episodes, so I don't know if I'll catch up and just do Survivor, or just hang out with you on Mondays. But I might bring it into the fold, not sure. But tomorrow, I think we're gonna try and do The Real Love Boat and see
I was
how
gonna
that goes down.
say, is that gonna make the cut?
Let's give it a try. There's not gonna be that many people covering it, so let's see if
I
it's
heard a
worth it.
rumor that they have challenges involved. It's not just like straight Bachelor style.
Yeah, I did hear that as well. Like it's like it's Bachelor style in the sense that I don't know if it's going to be a rose or if it's going to be some other gimmick, but it's going to be uneven men or women depending on which kind of rose ceremony type stitch. And so people would be going home still if they're not making connections. So if they don't get a rose or a boat or whatever it is. So I'm curious to see what the format is. It seems like Jerry O'Connell wasn't able to really divulge that much. But I'm looking forward to seeing how they format it, because Love Island has some good things. The Bachelor has some good things. And so if they take some of these good things from these shows that are very successful, maybe they can have a success on their hands. So.
Well, that sounds fun. I'm excited to just hear what other people say about it. And then maybe I'll jump in if it sounds like a fun show, but I'm going to wait for you guys to tell me if there's enough competition to make it interesting for me. But yeah, okay. Well, you guys who joined us live in the chat, thank you so much. We really appreciate that. And for anyone who's joining us later, please leave us a comment how you feel about this final 3. Were you gutted to lose the hubbies like we were? Give us your feelings on all of that. And we'll see you at some point after the finale.
Yeah, Monday or Tuesday.
All righty. Bye.
Bye.